We've actually seen him fight Faker very successfully with Gragas, which is, I think, very impressive from Nagne. The other thing that I really like is Impact is on a guy who fights things for a living. His Jackson Game 1 was crazy, drew a ban in Game 3. Then he played Renekton, got ahead, and single-handedly destroyed the backline.
Yeah, I just want to point out how well Nagne is playing on that Gragas. He has done and landed about 5 E's into Flash, basically making it impossible for Faker to do anything against it. And yeah, they're playing so solid, and I just really hope they take out Nagne's Gragas to throw him off, get him out of his comfort zone. That's what you need to do. Like when you're in an extended series, don't let people play the same comfort picks over and over, because even if it's not the ideal matchup, you might actually just win it because you're so used to playing it.
Yeah, it seems like Nagne really steps it up on Gragas, and that might be a problem because Faker's supposed to be winning mid really hard, and Nagne's able to just push him off and farm safely, clear the waves. And another thing I want to point out is Bengi on Aatrox. Not only is Aatrox not his style, because Bengi likes to go around tap lanes, gank a lot, and if Aatrox doesn't get really farmed, he's actually useless. You can see this game when Aatrox is behind, he had mobility boots and like a Bilgewater Cutlass. He's completely useless compared to Lee Sin. I think Bengi should stick to utility junglers.
Not to mention that no Korean team played Aatrox until we saw SK Telecom play it against Gaming Gear, and that wasn't the best representation of a highly skilled opponent like they're facing here in the semifinals. And so it did seem like a little bit of a weird pickup for them.
And with the pickups, we actually saw a little bit different style of gameplay, which we'll actually bring up in a replay Mani's going to take us through here. 6 minutes, 50 seconds into the game, the first blood, but really the fact of watching, I think we talked a lot about emotion and doing the wrong thing kind of when you need to do the right thing here.
Well, yeah, and this is a great cross-map play right now. So let's go ahead and start rolling this with Watch coming in from the side. And yeah, he gets the hit onto Piglet right there. W's to the ward, gets condemned backwards, but Mondu here trying to deal some damage to Prey. Nice exhaust, and here's the Shen ult. It gets canceled by Renekton in the bottom lane. Now Prey's going to have a great dodge here on the slow as well as the Zyra ultimate, or passive rather, and that baits Bengi in there. So even that little juke bought them a lot of time. Now what happened in this bottom lane actually was Renekton dove underneath the turret in order to stop that ult. So it was pretty good positioning by Impact, and he took a bunch of tower shots. He ate a taunt under the turret as well, and that really, that's why that kill was able to happen right there. So a little bit of variance across the map. Nice trade, but I praise little juke there on the Aatrox slow and the Zyra passive was pretty nice and made sure they got that kill. Faker was based, so it allowed Nagne to roam up into that top lane also.
Speaking of Zyra, speaking of Pumandu this game, Crepo, we just saw kind of a lackluster performance, to say the least.
Yeah, that passive missed, and then in the bot lane, his passive took a kill that otherwise would have granted double buffs to Piglet. Generally, in these games, he's been getting caught quite a few times. I don't want to discredit him because he's been making really good plays, some really nice teamfight ultis. But generally, his awareness hasn't been good enough, and he's gotten caught. Oh, a lot of other players are making mistakes as well. We've seen failed flashes in this game, 2 taunts into a wall. It's really important to see how these teams, how their mental agility hangs in there, because in extended series, the players with the best mind, not necessarily mechanical skills, but just how mental agility fares up one team to the other.
Interesting.
Yeah, and while Faker had a really good game, I think SKT's bot lane this game had a lot of trouble. They were really lackluster. I mean, they turned it on at certain points, like Mondu had great ultis, but the entire game, I was looking at Piglet, I was like, this guy's playing Vayne, he should be split pushing with Shen ulti, because if somebody goes to 1v1 the Vayne, she's going to win. And if somebody 2v1s the Vayne, she's still going to win because she has Shen ulti. So like, she should have been splitting pretty much the entire game. And all I saw was group, try to team fight, lose the team fight, group, try to team fight, lose the team fight. And another thing that really confused me was the fact that she built Negatron and Hex Drinker when she's up against this super tank Renekton who has an Omen. She should really have what's it called, a Last Whisper, and just try to dodge the Gragas damage. I think she was really just too defensive with her build, and she was never able to kill the Renekton. He was an unstoppable like beast.
And I actually want to talk about the Renekton a little bit because I talked about, just for a bit, about Expression playing sort of a more carry-oriented top laner, playing the Renekton, getting into the back line. And one thing that I actually liked a lot from the Sword lineup is they created a lot of plays, and they specifically created a lot of them against the Shen. That these guys ran around picking up kills and making a lot of plays. And one thing I wanted to point out actually in the mid-game, Faker at one point was 5-1 where at the exact same time, Nagne was like 4-1-5. He had made almost twice as many kills for his team in the mid game, and Impact kept getting focused. And we talk about when you want to gank a lane, you actually gank the global because you can't help him. He's the guy who's supposed to leave the lane, help someone else out. They repeatedly went after Impact, repeatedly kicked him down a notch, which meant that he could never 1v1 Expression, and he had such little impact in late game team fights. There was one of the battles where Expression basically 1v2s Vayne and Ahri, whereas Shen's in there trying to deal some damage and doesn't do very much, doesn't stop prey. And I think those were they had really just different impact in team fights.
And I think that
Final
Sword
thoughts.
has Shen on just downloaded. You know, I don't think Impact needs to play Shen anymore because it seems like Expression not only has a counter, but they're willing to just camp the crap out of Shen the whole game.
And not only are they willing to just camp him, but the way they play against Shen too with their aggressive style, if you can get that Gragas burst down, you can force the Shen ult to be used more defensively, and he will not be in typically a good position for taunts after that. So if you play aggressively against Shen and you prevent that Shen ult from being used aggressively in turn, you force that defensive ult, then you really have an advantage against the Shen teams a lot of the time.
All right, well, we get a chance to see what these teams have for each other. We got to take a quick break right now, but when we return, it is Game 4.